Today, I invite you to step into a powerful truth. You were never meant to shrink, to settle, or to play small. You were created with brilliance within you, a light that is uniquely yours. Yet how often do we wait for the world to tell us we are enough before we start acting like we are? How often do we hold back, believing that confidence comes after the success, after the applause, after the validation? The truth is, confidence begins now. Success starts with the energy you carry within you, long before the results appear. Acting as if you are the best is not about arrogance, it's about alignment. It is the art of stepping fully into your worth before anyone else sees it. Every single one of us carries within an extraordinary force, a quiet but powerful energy that shapes the life we live. This inner power is not something you need to earn, search for, or beg the world to give you. It has been within you from the very beginning, waiting for your recognition, waiting for your acceptance, waiting for you to step into it fully. The challenge is that so many of us have been taught to look outside ourselves for strength, for validation, for proof that we are capable or worthy. We wait for someone to give us permission, for circumstances to become perfect, for life to open a door wide enough that we dare to walk through it. But the truth is, your life begins to change the moment you choose to believe in your inner power, even before there is evidence in the outside world. Believing in your inner power does not mean that everything will instantly become easy. It means that you begin to live with a different perspective. Instead of doubting every step, you start to trust the process. Instead of questioning your worth, you affirm it. This belief acts as a magnet, drawing to you the people, opportunities, and situations that match your newfound vibration. Energy responds to energy. When you carry yourself as someone who knows they are capable, life mirrors that back to you. The world often teaches us to play small, to blend in, to not take up too much space. We fear judgment, criticism, or failure. But playing small does not protect you. It only keeps you from becoming who you were always meant to be. Your inner power was never meant to stay hidden. It was meant to be expressed, lived, and shared. Think of the moments in your life when you felt truly aligned, when you acted without overthinking, when you said yes to something that scared you a little but excited you a lot. Those moments are glimpses of what happens when you believe in your inner power. You stop waiting for the perfect plan and you start moving with faith. Belief is the seed, action is the soil, growth is the result. When you begin to believe, you start to plant seeds of possibility in your mind. You begin to see yourself differently, not as someone hoping to become powerful one day, but as someone who already holds the power to create, to choose to transform. This shift in identity is what attracts transformation. Because the truth is, the universe, life, or whatever name you give to that greater intelligence, responds to how you see yourself. If you carry the energy of, "I'm not ready yet," then opportunities pass you by. But when you walk with the energy of, "I am capable, I am prepared, I am worthy," doors begin to open, sometimes in places you never expected. Believing in your inner power also means releasing the grip of old stories. We all carry wounds from the past, moments that told us we were not enough, that we failed, that we didn't measure up. Those memories can become heavy chains that keep us from stepping forward. But you are not your past. You are not defined by the mistakes you made or the times you were overlooked. You are defined by what you decide to believe about yourself now. The present moment is always a doorway to a new identity. And the first step is choosing to believe that the power to change, to heal, to grow is already inside you. Start with simple actions. Speak kindly to yourself. Replace the words of doubt with words of faith. Each time you say, "I can," even before you see the way, You strengthen that inner muscle of power. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your light rather than those who feed your insecurities. Feed your mind with thoughts that expand you, not shrink you. The more you nurture this belief, the more it begins to feel natural. One day you will look back and realize that the power you were searching for was never missing. It was simply waiting for your recognition. Believing in your inner power is an act of self-respect. It is declaring to yourself that you are no longer available for the habits, relationships, or thoughts that diminish you. It is choosing to rise even when fear whispers that you should stay the same. It is walking forward with courage, even when the path is not fully clear. And as you continue to believe, your actions start to align. You begin to attract the right opportunities. You notice that people respond to you differently. Life starts to feel less like something happening to you and more like something happening for you. So today, take a breath and choose to believe, even if it feels unfamiliar at first. Say to yourself, I hold within me everything I need to move forward. I have the power to create change. I do not need to wait for the world to approve me. I am already enough. From this moment on, let that belief guide your steps. Walk into the next chapter of your life not as someone who is unsure of their worth, but as someone who knows they carry the power to shape their destiny, because you always have. How many dreams have been left untouched because someone kept waiting for permission? How many ideas, talents, and beautiful possibilities have been held back because someone was waiting for a sign, for someone to say, "Now you're ready," for the world to open its arms first? The truth is, waiting for permission is one of the greatest thieves of potential. It convinces you that you must be chosen before you can choose yourself, that you must be noticed before you can make a difference, that you must have the perfect moment before you can begin. But life does not work that way. The ones who move ahead, the ones who create change, the ones who build the lives they dream about, they do not wait. They decide. There will never be a perfect time. There will always be a reason to delay, a reason to doubt, a reason to convince yourself to stay where you are. If you look for the world to give you a green light, you may find yourself standing at the same intersection for years. Permission is not something that magically arrives with age, with approval, or with a title. It is something you grant to yourself the moment you say, "I allow myself to try, to learn, to take this step," is the moment your life begins to expand. Waiting for permission is often rooted in fear. The fear of judgment, the fear of rejection, the fear of failure. But these fears are not signs to stop. They are signs that you are on the edge of growth. The things that scare you the most are often the very things that will transform you the most. If you wait until the fear is gone, you will be waiting forever. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward despite it. Granting yourself permission means accepting that fear may walk beside you, but it will not lead you. Think of all the times in history when someone decided to start before the world was ready for them. Innovations, movements, and revolutions were born not because someone was invited to create them, but because someone refused to wait for the invitation. They believed that their voice mattered, that their vision was worth pursuing, that their time was now, not later. You are no different. The dreams placed within you are not accidents. The desires that keep whispering to your heart are there for a reason. They are not waiting for someone else's approval. They are waiting for your action. When you stop waiting for permission, you stop giving away your power. You stop living as though your worth is determined by someone else's recognition. You start to realize that the authority you were looking for was never outside of you. It was always within. Each step you take without asking for validation builds a stronger foundation of self-trust, and self-trust is what creates momentum. Momentum is what opens doors, and open doors are what create the results that others once told you were impossible. This does not mean you will never face obstacles or hear no along the way. It means you stop making those obstacles your final answer. Rejection is not a signal to retreat. It is often a redirection to something better. Criticism is not a sign to stop. It is proof that you are daring to do something worth noticing. Waiting for permission keeps you invisible. Acting without it makes you unstoppable. The life you want is not waiting behind someone else's yes. It is waiting behind your decision to start where you are. With what you have as who you are today, the perfect opportunity rarely comes wrapped in certainty. Most beginnings are messy. Most first steps feel uncomfortable. But that is the nature of growth. It asks you to move before you are fully ready so you can become ready through the movement. Grant yourself the permission you have been withholding. Give yourself the green light. Stop asking if you are worthy. You are. Stop wondering if it is the right time. This moment is as right as any will ever be. Stop waiting for someone to notice your potential. Show it to them by living it. The world responds not to hesitation but to boldness. And boldness begins the moment you stop waiting and start creating. Today, choose to act as the authority in your own life. Say yes to the idea you keep postponing. Take one step toward the dream that has been sitting quietly in your heart. Speak up where you have been silent. Move where you have been still. The path may not be perfectly clear, but clarity is born through movement, not through waiting. Each day you act without waiting for permission, you reclaim a little more of your power. And one day you will look back and realize that the only permission you ever needed was your own. Life becomes heavy when you constantly measure yourself against the progress, success, or appearance of others. Comparison is one of the quietest thieves of joy, yet it is one of the most common habits people carry. You see someone else achieving what you desire, and instead of feeling inspired, you start to doubt your own worth. You look at their chapter 10 and forget that you are still writing your chapter 3. Focusing on comparison creates a cycle of dissatisfaction because there will always be someone ahead of you in one area or another. But when you choose to focus on growth instead, everything changes. Growth is about progress, not perfection. It is about becoming a better version of yourself each day, not a replica of someone else. The moment you shift your focus from others to your own path, you begin to reclaim your power. Comparison distracts you from your journey, but growth keeps your eyes on your own lane. You do not know the sacrifices someone else has made to get where they are. You do not see the nights they doubted themselves, the failures they endured, or the fears they faced. Social media and the world often show only the polished outcome, never the messy process. When you compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, you set yourself up for unnecessary pain. Focusing on growth means asking yourself simple but powerful questions. Am I better than I was yesterday? Am I learning from my mistakes? Am I taking steps, no matter how small, toward the life I want to create? This mindset removes the pressure to be instantly successful or perfect. It allows room for mistakes, for lessons, for slow but steady improvement. Growth is not loud or always visible. Often it is the quiet commitment you make when no one is watching. It is choosing discipline over comfort, practice over procrastination, self-reflection over self-judgment. The truth is, there will always be someone with more experience, more wealth, more recognition. But there will also always be someone with less. If you live your life swinging between envy of those ahead and pride over those behind, you will never find true peace. Lasting fulfillment comes when your competition is with who you were yesterday. That is a competition you can always win because it is the only one you can fully control. Growth asks for patience. It asks you to honor your timeline. Flowers do not bloom all at once. Trees do not grow in a day. The same is true for your journey. Each stage serves a purpose. Even the slow, quiet seasons where it feels like nothing is happening. Underneath the surface, transformation is often taking root. The skills you are building, the habits you are forming, the resilience you are developing. All of these are part of your growth, even if they are not yet visible to the world. Comparison often comes from a place of lack, a belief that if someone else has something, there is less left for you. But life does not work on scarcity. It works on abundance. Just because someone else is shining does not mean your light is dimmed. There is space for all of us to rise. In fact, when you celebrate others genuinely, you open the door for the same energy to flow back to you. Envy closes doors, appreciation opens them. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is to turn comparison into inspiration. When you see someone achieving something you desire, instead of asking, "Why not me?" ask, "What can I learn from them? What does their success teach me about what is possible?" This small change turns a negative habit into fuel for your own growth. Their success can be evidence that your dream is not too big. It is simply waiting for your commitment and consistency. Every person's journey is unique. You have your own timing, your own lessons, your own path that cannot be copied or rushed. Focus on building habits that support your growth. Reading, learning, practicing, surrounding yourself with uplifting people, and setting small, clear goals that stretch you without overwhelming you. Celebrate progress in all its forms, whether it is a step forward, a lesson learned, or a mindset improved. These are the true markers of success. When you commit to growth over comparison, you start to live with more peace and purpose. You stop obsessing over where everyone else is going and start building a life that feels authentic to you. You find joy in the process, not just the result. You measure your success not by how far ahead you are of others, but by how aligned you feel with your own values and vision. This is where true fulfillment lies, not in being the best in the room, but in knowing you are becoming the best version of yourself. So, let others inspire you, but never let them define you. Let their victories remind you that success is possible, but let your heart set the pace. Each day you choose growth over comparison. You win a quiet, powerful victory. You honor your journey. You build your strength. You become someone who rises, not by stepping on others, but by steadily stepping into your own greatness. Carrying yourself with grace is one of the most powerful yet understated ways to move through life. It is not about being loud, forceful, or constantly proving yourself. It is about embodying quiet strength, self-respect, and a calm presence that speaks louder than words ever could. Grace is a reflection of how you value yourself and how you choose to respond to the world around you. It is the art of staying centered when things are uncertain, kind when others are harsh, and steady when life feels chaotic. It does not mean you never feel anger, disappointment, or sadness. It means you hold space for those emotions without letting them control your actions. When you carry yourself with grace, you communicate your worth without having to demand it. You walk into a room and your energy speaks for you because it is rooted in confidence, not arrogance. There is a quiet dignity in someone who does not need to boost, argue, or force attention. This kind of presence is magnetic because it is rare. In a world that often rewards noise, grace becomes a form of power. It allows you to rise above pettiness, gossip, and unnecessary conflict. It helps you stay aligned with your values even when those around you lose theirs. Grace is also about how you treat yourself. It is in the words you use when you make a mistake, the patience you give yourself when learning something new, and the way you choose to stand tall even after disappointment. Many people think carrying yourself with grace is only about how you treat others, but it starts with the relationship you have with yourself. When you honor yourself, you naturally extend that energy outward. You stop chasing validation because you already know your value. You stop over-explaining because you trust your decisions. You stop reacting to every opinion because you are grounded in your own truth. This does not mean you let people walk over you. Grace is not weakness. It is strength wrapped in calm. It is knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. It is choosing your battles wisely instead of trying to win every argument. Sometimes, the most graceful thing you can do is walk away from situations that drain your energy or demand you become someone you are not. Carrying yourself with grace means respecting your own boundaries and teaching others how to respect them too. Life will inevitably bring moments that test this quality. Someone may speak to you unfairly, opportunities may be delayed, or circumstances may feel unjust. Grace does not require that you pretend everything is fine. It asks you to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. It allows you to feel your emotions, but not let them dictate your character. It helps you find your voice without losing your composure. Over time, this builds an inner strength that no external chaos can easily shake. Carrying yourself with grace also means moving through success with humility. When life rewards your hard work, you celebrate without diminishing others. You become a source of encouragement rather than competition. People remember not only what you achieved, but how you made them feel in your presence. The same applies during seasons of struggle. Grace is often most visible in how you handle disappointment, loss, or change. Do you become bitter and closed off, or do you remain open to growth, learning, and new beginnings? The world may tell you to shout louder, to fight harder, to prove yourself constantly, but there is a deeper kind of power in staying composed. Grace gives you a quiet authority that cannot be faked. It makes you trustworthy, approachable, and respected, not because you demand these things, but because you embody them. Begin practicing grace in small moments. Slow down before reacting. Choose words that build rather than break. Acknowledge your emotions without letting them run the show. Keep your posture open and your mind steady even when life feels unpredictable. This does not mean being perfect. It means being intentional. With each choice, you strengthen your ability to carry yourself with dignity no matter the circumstances. In time, you will notice that people respond differently to you. Opportunities begin to meet you with less resistance. Relationships become more meaningful. And most importantly, you start to feel more at peace with who you are becoming. Grace is not a mask you wear. It is a way of being that grows from deep self-respect and emotional maturity. It does not chase validation or force acceptance. It simply is, and in its presence, everything else begins to align more naturally. To carry yourself with grace is to honor your own worth without needing to prove it. It is to move through life with steadiness even in the face of storms. It is to know that real strength is often quiet, and real power does not always announce itself. It just walks in, grounded and unshakable, and lets its presence speak. Mistakes are often seen as something to avoid, hide, or feel ashamed of. Yet they are some of the greatest teachers life offers. Every mistake carries within an opportunity, an invitation to grow, to see things differently, to become wiser and more resilient than you were before. When you shift your perspective from fearing mistakes to embracing them as lessons, you begin to unlock a powerful way of living. You stop treating missteps as proof of failure and start seeing them as stepping stones toward the person you are becoming. Many people hold back from pursuing their dreams or taking bold actions because they are terrified of getting it wrong. They want certainty before they begin, guarantees before they step forward, and perfection before they allow themselves to try. But growth does not work like that. The most successful and fulfilled people you admire have not avoided mistakes. They have made them, learn from them, and used them as fuel for their next step. Mistakes are not a sign that you are on the wrong path. Often, they are evidence that you are brave enough to be on the path at all. Each mistake contains a message. It shows you where your assumptions were off, where your preparation could be stronger, or where your intuition was trying to guide you differently. It invites you to pause and ask, what is this here to teach me? Sometimes the lesson is practical, like a skill you need to refine or a habit you need to change. Other times the lesson is deeper. It may be about patience, trust, humility, or the ability to let go of control. When you see mistakes as messengers rather than punishments, you stop avoiding them and start listening. Embracing mistakes also helps you release the heavy burden of perfectionism. Perfection tells you that one wrong move defines your worth, that a single misstep erases all your progress. But that is not the truth. Perfection is an illusion that keeps you stuck in fear. Real progress is messy. It involves trial and error, falling and standing up again, recalibrating and trying with a new approach. Every time you make a mistake and choose to learn from it instead of giving up, you strengthen your resilience. You teach yourself that you can survive discomfort, disappointment, or even public failure, and still move forward. There is a quiet strength in someone who can acknowledge a mistake without letting it break their spirit. This strength comes from understanding that mistakes do not define you. They refine you. They shape your character. They deepen your empathy. And they build your ability to handle life with grace. Think of the most valuable lessons you carry today. Chances are, many of them came not from easy successes, but from moments where you had to face discomfort, rethink your choices, and rise again. Mistakes also create connection. When you are honest about your missteps, you give others permission to be human too. You stop pretending that everything has always been smooth, and you create space for real conversations, shared experiences, and collective growth. People relate not to flawless stories, but to stories of resilience, of someone who tried, stumbled, learned, and kept going. To embrace mistakes as lessons. Start by changing the way you speak to yourself when they happen. Instead of saying, I failed, try saying, I learned. Instead of thinking, I ruined everything, remind yourself, this is part of the process. Ask what went wrong, but also ask what went right. Mistakes rarely mean that everything is broken. They simply highlight areas that need your attention and care. Take action from the lesson. If a mistake taught you that your planning needs more detail, plan better next time. If it showed you that you ignored your intuition, promise yourself to listen more closely. If it revealed a limiting belief, work on releasing it. The value of a mistake is not in the mistake itself, but in what you choose to do with it. Growth only happens when the lesson is applied. Over time, you will start to see mistakes, setbacks, but as essential ingredients in your evolution. They humble you, yes, but they also build you. They teach you to adapt, to innovate, to trust yourself even when things do not go according to plan. They remind you that the path to success is rarely straight. It is a winding road of attempts, adjustments, and newfound wisdom. So, give yourself permission to get it wrong sometimes. Give yourself the space to be a beginner, to experiment, to fall and rise again. Do not waste energy hiding your mistakes or pretending they never happened. Face them with honesty and curiosity. Every mistake you embrace becomes a tool in your toolbox of wisdom, a stepping stone that brings you closer to the life you want to create. In the end, the only real mistake is refusing to learn from them, because it is through those very moments of imperfection that you find your strength, your courage, and your true direction. In a world that constantly glorifies big achievements, major milestones, and overnight success stories, it is easy to forget the quiet, powerful importance of small steps. Yet real transformation is rarely the result of one grand action. It is built brick by brick, moment by moment, decision by decision. To celebrate every step forward is to honor your journey as it unfolds, to recognize that progress is not always loud, dramatic, or instantly visible. Sometimes the most important victories are the ones no one else sees. The day you refuse to give up, the moment you chose a healthier habit, the time you spoke kindly to yourself when your old self would have been harsh. Celebration does not have to mean parties, applause, or recognition from others. It begins with acknowledgement, a pause to say, I did that. I chose growth today. When you celebrate each step, you fuel your momentum. You create a cycle of encouragement within yourself. Too often, people wait until the finish line to feel proud, yet the finish line is always moving. Once one goal is reached, another takes its place. If you only allow yourself to feel worthy at the very end, you miss the richness of the path that brought you there. Small steps may seem insignificant in the moment, but they are the building blocks of lasting change. The choice to get out of bed when you felt low. The decision to say no to what drains you and yes to what nourishes you. The discipline to keep practicing, learning, or showing up even when progress feels slow. These moments accumulate. They create the habits, the mindset, and the resilience that lead to the bigger results you dream of. By celebrating them, you reinforce the truth that growth is happening, even when the evidence is still subtle. Celebrating each step also shifts your focus from lack to abundance. Instead of obsessing over how far you still have to go, you begin to see how far you have already come. This change in perspective is powerful. It turns your journey into a source of pride rather than pressure. It teaches you to find joy not just in achieving, but in becoming. Every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you are moving, evolving, trying. And that alone is worth acknowledging. There is a deep psychological strength in this practice. When you reward progress, you train your mind to stay engaged. You create a positive loop where effort leads to recognition, recognition fuels motivation, and motivation leads to more effort. Without this, many give up halfway, not because they are incapable, but because they cannot see or feel the value of the small steps that make up the larger journey. By celebrating them, you build emotional endurance. You remind yourself that change is already unfolding. This is not about ignoring what still needs improvement. It is about holding space for both. Gratitude for the steps you have taken and vision for the steps ahead. When you celebrate progress, you do not become complacent, you become energized. You begin to trust the process more deeply. You stop rushing through life looking for the next milestone and start living with presence, knowing that each step matters. Imagine the alternative, constantly criticizing yourself for not being there. Yet, that mindset drains energy, breeds discouragement, and often leads to quitting altogether. But when you choose celebration, you replace pressure with patience. You create a journey you can actually enjoy, one that feeds you instead of depleting you. The truth is, your life is a series of steps. Some are leaps, yes, but most are small shifts, quiet decisions, and subtle realignments. When you learn to honor them, you start to feel proud not just at the end of a journey, but every single day you are brave enough to walk it. There are many ways to celebrate your steps. It can be as simple as writing down one thing you did well today, taking a moment to breathe and feel your progress, or treating yourself with kindness instead of criticism. It might be sharing your milestone with a supportive friend, rewarding yourself with something meaningful, or simply whispering, "I'm proud of me," before you sleep. The point is not how you celebrate. It is that you recognize you are moving forward. Life is too precious to postpone your joy until everything is perfect. Perfection is a horizon that always moves as you get closer. Growth is here, now, in the quiet progress you make every day. The next time you take a step forward, no matter how small, pause, acknowledge it, and celebrate it, because every step you honor becomes the foundation for the next one. Every moment you celebrate builds the self-trust and resilience that carry you through the harder days. And every bit of progress, no matter how humble, is proof that you are on your way, becoming the person you were always meant to be.